All right, I am live again. Just waiting for Allison to come back on. So whenever she wants to join me, we'll continue the conversation that we're having. So, how's everybody doing? Hello, my friend. I don't know if he wants me to use his name on here, but um, yeah, sorry you're having some technical issues with the video. Hopefully hopefully this one won't be as chaotic. Hello, Shabal. Welcome back. Uh, yeah, but this is my room. As you can see, there's no decor because I am not a very fashionable, decorative person. I should put some posters on the walls. I don't know. There's certain parts of the room you can't see, and there's good reason for that because I'm not a very organized person. I need to clean it up, but it's like, where do I put everything, you know? Hello, TV Land, where they play Everybody Loves Raymond all the time. Here's Allison. Go ahead and drink some water.
Did you miss me?
Part 2, hopefully better than part 1. Sometimes the sequel's better.
Oh, I think I'll have more than last time.
Hello, Alison from Ireland.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Oh, God, I thought I froze.
Yeah, I froze for a second when you were connecting, but we're all back. We're all back.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna get silly.
Did you guys miss me? But yeah, no, I'm actually thinking of doing a live maybe once a week, maybe for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes each time. Just like a little update journal thing. I know I'm not really active in the way of like putting myself out on my story. It's just me because I'm fucking antisocial and all, an introvert.
I'm just really bad with technology, so I can't figure the stuff out, and then I get frustrated. Um, but I would like to do more. It's easier for me to talk to another person, you know, and have like a back and forth rather than because then I'm just like rambling on about nothing and boring everybody. But
I haven't told you to shut up yet, so we're doing good.
good. I guess that's good. Um, but yeah, this is easier now because I know that we're not as crunched for time because we didn't waste so much time with trying to figure out everything else. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't mind doing regular sort of conversations and live stuff, and people can always join. You know, like it can be like a conversation, like
Yeah, like maybe one of us does a special guest every say second or third week and has someone from the audience, maybe Rosemary some week, maybe Siobhan, maybe and anyone. I don't know. I'm not gonna try and pronounce names or figure out names because I am so tired that I'm not gonna remember.
yeah,
So if I even say the wrong name, I'm sorry. But
yeah.
yeah, no, but I
I
think it's a good idea.
it's kind of like I don't know. I like to put myself out there. I like kind of even though I'm like incredibly awkward. Like I like putting myself sort of out there and you know kind of anything that brings awareness to dyspraxia. I mean, what I really like to do is I like to do something like what we're doing now, but put it on like YouTube or something. So it'll be now that we know not to do this and that at the same time. some other time we'll try to find a way to make like a YouTube video.
Do
But
you
you
think,
know, you learn from your
like I
mistakes.
know it's more for gaming, but I'm wondering would Switch or Twitch be a good thing for you? Because like you can chat to people, you can have your gaming. I think you can have other people on it.
I
Like
know,
it's a
yeah, you
live. It's
can
kind of
like,
like this, but it can be as not as
yeah, you
long
can
as
do
you
like
want to be on
live
it.
stream stuff. That would be. I need to figure out how that works, how like Patreon works, because I've done like reaction videos and stuff too, and it's hard to do that when you're just like taking your camera and like trying to film yourself, edit it, put it all together, put it. If it was just like a live thing, it'd be so much easier, and then you could just put it on YouTube. I'm like sweating up here. I don't like to show my hairline on camera. But
Oh my God, I should get you a hat with Billy on it.
with who?
Billy.
Oh, Billy from the group.
Yeah, I got. I don't know if you saw this, but I got Billy a shirt with Jedward on it and him. So I think I should start a clothing line with Billy's face on it.
Yeah.
Guys, Siobhan, what do you think? Rosemary, what do you think?
The Billy line by
I think that'd
Alison.
be funny.
You should make
We
a.
need to get Billy's pictures.
I tell you, you should make a shirt that says the Theatric Dyspraxic, and I would wear it in every video. I wear it all the time. I can like show
Yeah,
off.
and then I'll put my face on the pocket.
And
I'll just put this face.
yeah, and then when people ask who's that, I'd be like, oh, it's the manufacturer. She's just really vain.
I like to put myself out there.
She likes to show off, like me. But have a big, that'd be funny. Just have like my face, like just like with my big smile.
Oh my God, you and Billy or something on the back doing, or something like that. Yeah. Oh, we're getting so sidetracked. But oh my God, I'm writing this down. Clothing line.
Yeah. I would totally accept a shirt that had the Theatric Dyspraxic and my face going like on it, and I'd wear it everywhere, and people would be like, "What the hell?"
Just take a photo of a position you would like to be in, and then I'll try and work my magic. And I'll put myself somewhere on the shirt.
Well,
Siobhan, you want to be on the shirt?
put everybody's face on the back. It'd be like my face and like the text on the
Yeah.
front, and then everybody in the circle just on the back making whatever face they
No,
want.
I'll do a Christmas tree one and have you on top, or I'll have you or Billy on top. You can fight over who,
But that only
and work our way down.
that only works on a
And then have
seasonal level.
yeah, but still. And then as a
What a
lump
year
of coal,
round.
we'll put Pete down.
Yeah. Nah,
Oh my God, we're getting.
I would love if people sent me like dyspraxic shirts, like Dyspraxia Life magazine like shirt. I would totally wear that around.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll think about it. I'll get some designs possibly on, and then we'll see.
Yeah, send me
But
some,
I would like,
mail me some of
yeah,
that and
no,
mail
but
me
I
some
feel like
food.
you need to have more of a gathering to do so.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Exactly, Siobhan. Exactly.
That's how we can exactly. Exactly. People be
Hey,
running.
have you heard about this practice yet? No. Well, here's my friend Brandon.
Yeah, he's the Theatric Dyspraxic. And then once my book comes out and it sells like 1 billion copies, then the shirt will be worth. You'll make a lot of money on those shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Siobhan. It'll be a conversation starter. People ask, and then you can start bragging. It's like, yeah, I'm doing my part.
Well, I have my lucky shoe of one of my horses that has won a race. I'm hoping the luck that came from the shoe will help me in life. Or you can just get me more colours.
Your lucky shoe. Horseshoes
My
are
lucky
like
shoe.
lucky charms, right?
Yes, the superstition is if you turn this upside down, all the luck will fall away. So, it hasn't turned upside down since the car came off the horse's shoe.
Yeah. I don't know about the YouTube videos, Siobhan, because I don't know how good those are, but I try.
I was actually thinking of making my own YouTube, but then again, like I'm grand talking to other people. I don't mind doing the live. But
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd be on YouTube on my own, just talking to a camera. I know they say you'll get used to talking, but I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's
it's
been
not
the
for sure,
trouble with
and I'm not
me.
saying anything. I know they won't see it, but I was supposed to be talking to um a man, a presenter for like in Ireland about dyspraxia and my thing. But obviously, with everything going on in the world right now, I doubt we're going to do it, and I kind of wish we could, even if it was over Zoom or if we came out to the yard. It'd be brilliant, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. 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 Oh my god, I can't
Um,
speak.
oh, I'm kind of.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
I glitched up for a second. Jordy Win X. I have not seen your YouTube video. I'll do a reaction to it if you want me to. If you want to send me the video on here, then I will
I
definitely.
think I have possibly. I don't ask me straight off my head. As you know, memory shit.
But I will say what you said,
Um,
Allison, about it is really hard to do a YouTube channel that's just you, entirely on your own. Some people maybe that's just not a skill that I possess like naturally. So like I've used my channel as sort of like a vlog just to like get my thoughts out, but I don't think they're very good. I'm not a fan of my YouTube videos. But I would like I work better with other people. That's the thing, and that's the nature of like because I'm used to
yeah,
acting. I'm used to like doing theater, so like that's you're used to kind of bouncing off other people, and
mm,
it's just really hard to do that like sort of on your own. When you're not used to going solo. So that's the problem I've been having. And plus, as far as like I don't have any graphics or music or anything on my channel just because I'm not good with any of that stuff. Like I wish I could find somebody that could make me like a logo or like make me like some sort of like intro or compose some sort of music, to sort of open my videos or whatever. But I'm just like I'm so bad with technology, and it's really hard to.
get Mike to do the music.
I've asked him about it. I've talked to him about it, but we haven't talked like at length
Oh,
about it. But that would be cool if he could
yeah,
like come up with some big um bye Jake. If we did some kind of big like some like short like 20-second intro thing, that would be really cool.
yeah,
And having Dyspraxics like do it would make it more interesting because it shows off the talents that each of us have, you know to have a Dyspraxic
yeah.
do like the music. And I don't know if anybody is good at graphic design in the Dyspraxic community, but
Yeah. No, when we're on the Zooms, my team song from Mike is either the Pink Panther team song,
yeah,
Doctor Who, or he's learning Harry Potter on the piano for me.
yeah, he learned how to play Evil Woman for me, which is not really my
Did he?
theme song because I'm not an evil, because I'm not evil or a woman. Well, I'm not a woman, and not yet. No, uh, but yeah, he's I did a reaction to one of his songs. How did it go again? Sunny, sunny
The
day,
Dyspraxic.
sunny, sunny day,
Um,
blue skies, and the sun is here to stay. Yeah, and then
I missed that one. Was that when I went racing or something?
huh?
Was that when I went racing?
I don't know.
maybe. Because there's a day where I missed your book meeting, and I also missed a Friday Zoom or something. I went racing 2 other days. And I was raging because I wanted to hear more about the story.
Oh, like the book?
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed a lot of really important stuff. But I mean, you had to
Yeah, and
wait.
no one will fill me in. No one will fill me in. So like, I don't know what I've missed. I don't want to
I mean, I will send it to
start in on
you.
and
I'll send you what you missed if you want to read it.
yeah.
All right.
Because like I feel left out. It was kind of my idea to have on a certain night, and I have to go racing.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Well, you had an excuse. I knew you weren't going to be there, but I know that Annabelle, she was gonna be in it, and then she just didn't show up. I don't know what happened with that. Pretty much, the only two people who were in the meeting, along with like who had been in the first one, like the one that you were a part of, that was in the second one, was
Yeah.
Tom and Sarah. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it
Rosemary
didn't.
was in there. She missed the one that you were a part of, but I kind of filled her in. But you know what when we went over when you were in there, um, wasn't as there was a lot more information, which is why I was ashamed that you couldn't be a part of it. But yeah, I'll send it to you and you can read it, and
Yes.
and then the next whenever we do another one, whenever, um, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to make my book just like about dyspraxia, but I want it to be I want it to have an appeal like to people who don't know what dyspraxia is or have never heard about it as well. And just because it's different. It's different, I guess, from what people would expect a book about dyspraxia to be, because it's not just about dyspraxia. It's about me and my life with dyspraxia, along with other things. But
Yeah.
hopefully people will enjoy that. I know there's a certain point in the book where it becomes sort of less directly about dyspraxia, but it still is related, like the underlying themes. I don't know. But yeah, I'll send it to you for sure.
Yay. I was just talking in the group chat, and there might be a couple joining from there if they actually bother their arses.
What?
If they bother their arses, there'll be a few from the Zooms talking. Oh, we're just talking about you. Jake? Is it Jake? Jack? Jake?
Yeah, Jake's back. We were too interesting.
Yay, Jake. We're just talking about how lonely it was because you weren't with us.
Yeah, we missed you, my friend.
Brandon was really crying. I don't know that. Oh my god, wait. I'm trying to join in.
Hey, sunny day, sunny day, blue sky, the sun is here. Sarah's here. When you came in my life, you changed my world, my Sarah.
I have like 10 minutes before I have to shut up completely. I have family soon going to bed.
Oh, okay. Did we
Do you have any
want to
for nerds?
answer a couple of questions?
Yes. What one do you want to do first?
I think I asked the last one. If there's one that.
Hi, Sarah. Missing you. Are you missing us? You're missing me, more importantly.
You missed all the chaos.
Yeah, you missed all the chaos. It was great crack. We had dyspraxic
It was
moments and
perfect.
all.
Yeah, it was
Fine
perfect for
glory.
vacation.
I think Siobhan nearly was crying with like all the laughter.
Yeah, probably. The gang's all here. Um, we'll have to do some live streams I don't know how many people you can have per like live stream.
No, I think it's literally like 2 or something.
I thought you could have. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll
No,
do
it's
like a
not quite
lot, like
like
a.
any else.
We'll do like a recorded Zoom and just like talk, and we'll just have like a group talking, and
Yeah.
then yeah. So
Right. So
you
last
actually,
question I got was on relationships. We don't have to talk about it. We can do it in the actual Zoom. But do you want to we kind of talk about relationships with our family. We kind of talk about relationships with our friends. Is that good enough for the question, or
yeah, I don't know if they're asking about like romantic relationships or like just interpersonal relationships in general.
I don't know. Like we kind of answered most of them. Um, I'm happy enough with that. We can happily talk about it on the Zoom, but I think
Yeah.
that's good for now. What about coping mechanisms? Thank you, Sarah. Do you like the length of it? I can't even bend over. I can't even do it straight. You think it's alright?
Y'all kind of have
I
similar
love
hair
getting
then.
compliments over my hair.
I know. I can't say the same thing.
I'm falling off of my seat from the compliments. Yeah, no, yeah, we'll do coping mechanisms. Um, Sarah, really?
Wow.
Yeah, coping mechanisms. I don't know.
I guess it
I don't
depends
have
on
any.
what exactly what you're coping with, like just the dyspraxia.
I don't have any.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I would say that my life has been changed a lot since I discovered dyspraxia, like since I discovered what it was about. It's gained me a lot more understanding. Thank you, Sarah. Um, it's gained me a lot of understanding for who I am as a person and how I struggled. And writing the book, because I guess writing the book for me has been like a really good coping mechanism because it's allowed me to examine things in my life that I haven't really examined at such a deep level before, and it made a lot of things make sense that didn't, that just didn't make, that I was always confused about throughout my childhood. But it still affects me because I think about those days and I think about who I used to be, and it's like it kind of makes me sad because I know what could have been. I knew that my things would have been. I probably would have had a much happier like childhood and adolescence if I was aware of the if I was aware of what was actually going on and other people were aware. And because I didn't get to have that, it led to a lot of personal, emotional like turmoil. But I think going through that experience, being able to write about it and be able to like sort of sum it up into a book, thinking, you know, maybe it'll be worth something. Maybe I don't know. It's possible. Anything's
Yeah.
possible. But I uh, I don't have any real good like I don't have advice on coping mechanisms. I just try to take it one day at a time, I guess. And I don't always cope well, but I mean the problems that I have now aren't like I've accepted that my dyspraxia. Like I've accepted that it's something that I live with and that it's just something that I deal with, and I'm not ashamed of it. Um, the only negative thing is just other people's ignorance. That's the only real big area where it still affects me is that like I just started a new job, and like I've already kind of struggled. I've only done like computer stuff for now, um,
Yeah.
but like I could tell you like the dyspraxia has affected that like the way that I was able to like do the computer work that I had to do, like my memory, and remembering things and paying attention to things because I'm also ADHD. I'm pretty sure because it's really hard for me to concentrate and my mind wanders and I get distracted very easily, which has happened quite a bit during this whole thing. It's like I'll blank on what I'm trying to say because I get.
But also, I think that's also a trait of dyspraxia because I find myself zoning out a lot. Like, I still be listening in with, like, a conversation, but I could be like this, just staring off, like I'm listening. But I think it's also something to do with the way your brain functions as dyspraxic. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens to keep popping up. And I say a few other people have said, like, in the past, that I'm just being, like, an ignorant person
I
because I'm not
think that
listening, but I am.
it all kind of coils together in a way. It's like you said that you also have like dyslexia, and I'm sure there's certain symptoms that are so blended together with dyspraxia and dyslexia, like the way that it affects you. I'm sure that there's certain things where it's like you can't really pinpoint exactly. Like for me with ADHD and dyspraxia, a lot of times it's hard for me to really tell which is affecting me because it's probably both at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of go together. They just kind of interconnect rather than you have both. They're closely related, and I think a lot of people with dyspraxia also have ADHD. You know, that's just kind of
Yeah.
I think that I heard something about how it was like 80%. I don't know if it's that much, but it seems like there is a big, comorbidity with definitely 50% of
Not
dyspraxia.
just some. Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's obviously like people are also can make up stuff. Like, you could be, like you said earlier, you could be misdiagnosed and all this. They're just adding, obviously, like, yeah, it's adding on problems to their function, like. But Sarah, yes, I think you have ADHD. I think you have ADD too. You're very bubbly for my liking. But it's something to look into. There's not enough research on the topic as it is, and like it needs to be explored more. Really, I think that's the main aim out of trying to research everything. It needs to be explored more.
Yeah, there needs to be more of a discussion, and there needs to be more resources for learning about it. But the brain is so complicated and so complex that that's how it leads to there being like comorbid like disorders. I mean, there's so many different ways that your brain can operate differently, and it begs the question of like what is normal because every brain is different and every brain is connected in a different way, and
Yeah.
like you know it's I think ADHD is harder to define than dyspraxia in a way because dyspraxia I think is more complicated, but I think it's easier to define like the specific areas of trouble, coordination, memory, things like that. Um, but with ADHD, I think it becomes more. I think that's why there's a lot of like people who get like there's a lot of people who get misdiagnosed with ADHD, like a lot of kids, because a lot of and there's the fact that people think that it's something when it's actually something else, like when people would think people with ADHD are like hyperactive and always just like bouncing off the walls, and I've met plenty of ADHD people who were like that, but that's not the only kind of people who have ADHD. Like it affects,
Yeah.
sometimes it makes you zone out more, but I think it is heavily linked. Are there any known medicines that help negate the symptoms of dyspraxia? If there are, I would like to know
No.
about it.
But like that's the thing. Like I'm not taking it out on you guys, especially, but America, you have so much medication for shit you will not need.
Yeah,
Like it's like in some parts in America, they try and get rid of the autism out of the children.
yeah.
I just think you need to go on a bit more of a natural path. Stay away from the medication. Calm down on it, like.
I think it
Because we're
depends.
fine otherwise. Because most of us are grand. I think America goes overboard in certain parts of having medication and stuff.
Well, it's all part of our pharmaceutical industry, which is so. I mean, that's a whole other topic that but
They just want to make money, basically.
yeah, that's what it's all about. It's like if they found like a cure for COVID-19, they would sell it for like hundreds of dollars. It's all about making money, and the the way that I view like medication is that I think it should be seen as like a last resort. You know, like if nothing else, and it depends on. I mean, it obviously depends on what it is. Like as far as like antidepressants, you know, the only reason I think
Hmm.
people should take medication
Okay, that,
like antidepressants is if like therapy doesn't work, if exercise hasn't worked, you know, it should only be, you know, in the case where it's like you absolutely need it. Like I think I might be able to benefit from some kind of like low dose for some ADHD like medication or something, but it depends on
yeah,
what it is. Like you have to, because some medications don't work for you, and you have to try different ones. But because it's so expensive in America, most people can't afford it. You know, then you just
yeah,
have to deal with the symptoms. But as far as dyspraxia goes, I don't think there's any specific medications that help with it. I just think there might be supplements or something that might help with memory or something. But
yeah, like omega-3 and kind of fatty oils and stuff. Yeah, like I can understand if it was something kind of linked, like it was kind of linked towards it, like depression is, or if you had like a low, if you feel like you have like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say low iron levels because that's completely different, but like there is stuff you can take. I think it's omega-3 for memory, and you could take, and there's other vitamins that could help, but I just think that if there was less medication in the world and more free stuff, it'd be a whole lot better and
I think
be less troublesome,
if we regulated like
maybe.
the idea of like taking medication, maybe don't just diagnose everybody and just like see it as like it's gonna fix them. Just stick them with medication because you have to be really careful with things like medication. And I'm not gonna say that people
Yeah,
shouldn't take medication because some people really should. Some people cannot function without it. Um, but you have to assess the person properly before you prescribe something like that to them. And I think that it should only be for people who really need it for certain things. But too much medication can, Rosemary said, like the side effects. You know, uh, some side effects, like I mean, you were there when I talked about it in my book about when I had to take that ADD medication. You know, and you saw the side effects it had on me. You know, so it's like
yeah,
don't like if somebody's like schizophrenic and there's certain medications that can help with that, then yeah, you know, they should probably be taking it if it helps them. But try to find other like root causes and try to find other methods that help without feeling like you have to jump to medication.
yeah.
And yeah, like eat the three, nix the six, omega. Yeah. I mean, supplements, you know, help too, taking your vitamins. I mean, I heard a lot of great things about magnesium, a lot of great things about vitamin D. Like, vitamin D is like really good for you for a lot of things. You know, I haven't
Mm.
I haven't tried like supplements for vitamin D. I mean, I know you get it from the sun, but you know, the sun isn't always like, you know, you can't rely on the sun uh, too much because you know too much sun exposure not great for
I
you.
love the way we are thinking in our heads that you mean like, oh, we'll only do this for an hour, and here we are, an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes later.
Yeah, yeah,
I actually may go because I'm up early with work tomorrow. We have lots of topics to discuss. Maybe we'll do another one. Maybe once a week we'll do this live talk people
yeah.
get
Once I
their
get a
opinions.
consistent schedule and I can figure out what my off days are, because all I know is, I mean, this is literally my schedule. Like they just wrote it down on a sticky note, and I know that I work 11 to 8 the next 2 days. Saturday it's 12:15 to 9:15. Um, and I have no idea what my schedule next week is going to be like. But when that happens, because I'd like to do stuff like this more, and you know, it's nice to be able to talk to somebody else and do like a live thing and
Get
have
their
people.
opinions and stuff.
This has been a fun experience. So,
I'll tell you one thing, Sarah be useless at this because you two will ramble on and you'd have no one to stop you talking.
um, I might answer a couple of
Okay,
questions after you go. Um,
perfect.
like maybe some of the one, like I know that I was asked a question about mental health. Um,
Perfect.
so I'll try to just get through some of these questions that I was given
I
specifically. Um, yeah.
I may or may not stay in the background, but I'm more than likely just go turn off altogether. Um, I'll talk to you whenever. I'll see the rest of you guys on the Zoom if you're in them. Jake, it was nice meeting you, and that's a goodbye from me.
All right. Bye, Allison.
Bye.
Make me that shirt. All right. So now it's just me. So I'm probably going to uh, get off of here pretty soon, but I'm going to try and answer a couple of questions that I have left that I have just written down that people asked me prior to this. So I'll try to just answer just a couple of things. So, what has been the most beneficial way to explain your dyspraxia to others? What worked and what did not? That was a question by Rosemary, who I think is still with us. But so the most beneficial, well, I guess the most beneficial way for me is probably oh, bye, Sarah. Is probably everybody's leaving now that Allison is gone. Um, is probably the book, like that's the most eloquent way that I could sum up my experiences of just writing a whole book about it. And as long as I've spent on it and how much work I put into it, I think it does a pretty decent job explaining it. Otherwise, I can't really say that there's too many because as far as oh, thank you. Jesus. um, so as I've said, I get very easily distracted. Um, so I apologize for that. So the most beneficial way, a lot of how it is beneficial is other people's reactions as opposed to how you explain it. Because I try to explain it in a way that people would understand. I try to put it in layman terms, which is the only way that I could put it anyway. Um, but I try to just like it. I usually don't explain it until it comes up, like in a work setting or something like that. And when I do that, I'll talk to like a manager or somebody privately to let them know. And if you read my blog, my experiences talking about working at a restaurant where I was serving, if you look through that and look through the blog, then you'll sort of see how it affected, my ability in the workplace in that work environment. But you also see me explain to the manager about it and try to, you know, make things clear. But I try to let people in on it early on just so that they don't get any wrong ideas or that they just aren't confused. But I don't just go around telling everybody all the time. But as far as like the best reaction I've gotten, I mean, most reactions I get are just like stumped, like they're not used to somebody telling them this. They're just used to like just like some schmo working for them. They expect everybody to be like kind of regular. Um, and if they're not regular, like they usually expect them to be like excessively like impaired, like if they have like if somebody has like autism or something, they expect them to exhibit certain behaviors, like okay, this person's autistic. But like since I generally come across as like a normal average kind of guy for the most part, especially if I'm like really comfortable with somebody and I like make a lot of jokes, and um, then it doesn't always come out. Like it's not always obvious until they see me make a mistake. It's like my first job, I worked at a movie theater. Nobody really knew that there was something wrong until they saw me like sweep, or try to do anything, or fold like boxes, which is what got me fired from the movie theater. But that's a story for another day, and that's something that I put in my book. But I did. There was one guy that I knew, and we're actually kind of friends now. But we used to work together. He was one of the managers from a restaurant, a fast food restaurant that I worked at, and I told him in the interview. Of course, they really needed people. I really needed the job. But I wanted to explain to him that I suffer from dyspraxia, and when I was going to explain to him, what it was, because I have to assume that people have never heard of it. But when I was going to explain, he was just like, I know what it is. I was very surprised by that, and it turns out that he had some other kind of neurological thing. I'm not going to speculate on what it was. I honestly don't remember, so I'm not going to say it. But he I guess because of that, he knew a little bit about neurological disorders, and so you know, just he had heard of dyspraxia, so that made it easier to work with him. But unfortunately, he ended up getting fired like shortly after I started, and that was that. But we still we have each other on Facebook, and we chat from time to time. So yeah. Plus, he has his own stuff going on. But yeah, that was probably the best response that I've gotten for dyspraxia. Um, and I guess what works is just to try to just be honest and to just be straightforward and just explain to somebody, this is something that I have. It may affect the work. The hardest part is explaining to somebody that you don't necessarily always know how it's going to affect you. Like, that's the thing about dyspraxia, is that you don't always know what you're going to struggle with and what you're not going to struggle with, because you'll understand, just like anybody else, the concept of doing something. But it's not until you actually try to put it into practice that it becomes a challenge and it becomes difficult, because that's really what dyspraxia is a disconnect from the mind to the body, or at least the subconscious to the conscious, if we're talking about like memory and thought processing issues. Your intelligence is still there, and your ability to comprehend things is still there just fine. Um, but trying to put it into practice, or try to translate it, into speech, or you know, moving the subconscious to the conscious mind, it's just difficult. So that was my answer to that. I hope I answered it all right. Is dyspraxia likely to mean setting argumentative disputes is nearly impossible? I wonder if the dyspraxic brain and the way we order our lives in the world's systems of time management means we can't work to come to a mutual agreement easily. This was a question by someone named Anna from the dyspraxia group. And so setting argumentative disputes. So basically, how do we get... oh, thank you, Rosemary. I'm glad I answered it well enough. Settling like arguments. Are we good at it? Are we bad at it? That really depends on a lot different factors for me. There have been times where I have gotten into arguments, and if I'm like totally 100% in the right, and I know that I'm totally in the right and the other person is wrong, like maybe they don't have any of the facts and I like have all the facts, or whatever, depending on what it is. I mean, maybe we're talking about debates now, but like even if it's like something personal, if I know that I'm like kind of in the right, then usually it just naturally kind of, the way it flows is, it's not really that difficult. But it really depends, because my day-to-day is very different, because sometimes I'm really fluid in the way that I talk, in the way that I channel things, like anger or whatever. Like some days are easier than others, so it depends on what state I'm in when I'm like having an argument with somebody, which I try not to argue very often. But if I'm right, then I just kind of like stick to the facts and whatever. But sometimes you get so angry that you don't even know how to talk. Like you don't even know how to how to get your point across, because it's already hard anyway. But if you're angry and you're caught up in your emotions, then it's hard to regulate that anger and express yourself in an appropriate way at the same time. Um, and I don't really debate much, like especially politically. I don't really like getting into political debates. I mean, I have my own political issues, or my own political views. Um, I'm like losing. I'm losing people. Only 3 people left. All right. But my oh, 4. Okay. I need to stop focusing on how many people are watching and just like answer the damn question. Um, Again, I lost my train of thought. I don't even know what I was saying. So, oh yeah, political debates are not something I like to get into, just because it it's hard to have all the facts ready. Even if you like read something, it's hard to retain the information. Um, because like you might know something and you might say, and then somebody throws you a curveball and you're like, well, I have no way to verify if that's true or not. Um, People just keep coming and going. Yeah. So as far as, I'm not really answering this question. It's a hard question to answer. But yeah, it can be hard to argue with people when you get caught up in the emotion. Um, but you just try your best. And of course, there's that thing that happens to every one of us, which is whenever you try to talk to somebody, or you try to, you have like an argument, and then you try to have like a good comeback to something, and then later on you realize like the perfect thing that you could have said. But that's like a universal human thing that we all do. So, you know, that I can't really speak on that as a dyspraxic, but yeah, I think that thought regulation, expressing yourself in your words. If I'm really, really heated about something, I'll stammer, and I'll just like, you know, whatever. Um, how does dyspraxia? Okay, so I talked a little bit about mental health. Just how does dyspraxia affect your mental health? And the fact of the matter is that that's probably the main effect that dyspraxia has had with me. And one of the main things I wanted to talk about in my book, my blog and stuff, is that for many years, like, mental health has been something that I've probably struggled with the most. And I really have a hard time with my self-esteem. And I try to work on it, but when you got all these issues, and you've gone through some of the things that I've gone through, it's like it's really hard to like yourself. It's really hard to have a good self-image. Um, and over the years, it's it's just been really hard. And how dyspraxic kind of lines up with that is, of course, from a very early age, I was bullied. I was treated as lesser. I was treated like I was stupid. I was called stupid. I was called retard. I had teachers who called me stupid, and they just hated me because I was always messing up. And that affects your self-esteem quite a bit. And the fact that you go through these issues, you can't tie your shoes, you can't ride a bike, you can't do all these, your handwriting just comes out like people don't understand how your handwriting looks the way it does. And it's like, why am I like this? It was just something I was always thinking of myself, and other people was thinking the same. Well, like, what is wrong with him? Had I known what dyspraxia was, and if there were more awareness and the people around me knew what it was, then I probably would have had an easier time. But I would have been I would have been predisposed to depression and anxiety anyway, because it's genetic. I'm not the only one in my family who deals with depression. Pretty much everybody in my family, in some way or another, deals with depression and anxiety, and self-esteem issues and social anxiety, shyness, all that stuff. Um, we all kind of struggle in our own way. It's like my sister suffers from dermatillomania, and that has affected her self-esteem, and she tries to talk about that as well. Um, I'm a twin, and by the way, anybody who doesn't know, there's two sets of twins in my family. Um, but we've all kind of had our run-ins with things like depression. So I would have still been affected by it, but maybe not to the extent as I have the way that things have gone, just because of my own confusion and uncertainty, and of course, the misdiagnosis when I was 11, when people thought that I was on the autism spectrum, that had an effect on me that I can't, can only really be described in my book. I mean, I can't really sum up how that affected me, but it affected me more than anything. And it really shaped the person that I became. And it brought a lot of shame to me, and it brought a lot of self-hatred to me, and it caused people to treat me differently. I was treated like I was a baby by like teachers and stuff. It changed my relationship with my mom. She told me that she didn't think I was ever going to live a normal life, that I was going to end up growing up in some kind of group home, you know. So being treated differently for something that I didn't have, but having something else that I was always dealing with dyspraxic symptoms all throughout school, and just it was always there, but I didn't know what it was, and that has been that has definitely contributed to my depression, um, and still does to this day. Even though I understand it now, it, I still think about it, the things that happened in the past and the way things are now. It's like I was never really given a fair chance in life, and have struggled with like suicidal thoughts for a long time. I've struggled with self harm. I've had dozens of emotional breakdowns in my life, and had panic attacks, and like I don't like the way that I feel about myself, but I don't know how to change it. That's the thing, you know. Just like my thought processes are so wired to just putting myself down as much as possible, and just hating myself, you know, just seething self-hatred that just kind of like runs through me all the time, that I don't know how to fix, but try to remedy little by little is all I can do. Um, and I try to take walks. I try to drink water. I try to just do the best that I can to get through it. And I write about it. That helps me. Um, Theater has helped me cope with a lot of things. One thing I like about theater is that I can step outside of myself, and I could pretend to be somebody else. And it kind of turns me into a totally different person, even when I'm not being the character, but just being in that environment. It's like I'm funnier, I'm more comfortable, I'm more loose and outgoing, and not all the time, not with every show that I do. It depends on the show, but when I'm doing a show and people tell me that I'm like, oh, you're so talented, you're so funny, and all that, then it makes me feel confident in a way that I never feel anywhere else. Theater is really the only place that I can truly feel good about myself, and that's one of the reasons why I still do it, and why I love doing it, and why not being able to do it like during the pandemic and stuff has brought on a lot of negative emotions. I don't know if anybody's still listening to me, but right now, but that's basically just how things are for me. As far as how I manage it. I accept that I'm dyspraxic. I accept that there's nothing I can do to change it. It doesn't make me less of a person. It doesn't define who I am as a person. It doesn't affect my intelligence or my ability to perceive things. It doesn't affect my relationships, except for just my own self-esteem and all that stuff. but I'm still my own person, you know, and being aware of the fact that I'm not on the autism spectrum, even though I'm not saying that there's anything to be ashamed of if you are. Um, there's nothing, I don't want to give the impression that there's anything to be, but I was ashamed of it, of the diagnosis. And because I didn't really identify with it all that much, that it just made me, I don't know it's hard to explain it, but yeah, it's a hard thing to deal with. You're welcome. Thank you for listening. It's a hard thing to deal with when you have poor self-image. And the thing about my experience is that very few people have gone through I don't know anybody who's gone through exactly what I've gone through. I've met people like other dyspraxics, like they've gone through similar things because they're dyspraxic too, but their life circumstances are totally different from mine, and no two people's experiences are the same. And I don't know anybody who has gone through the exact experience of being misdiagnosed with a disorder that you don't have, um, and also not know that you have dyspraxia. Like it's just very specific to me. So that's why it's hard to talk to people about. That's why I had to write a book about it, to truly express it. And I think more and more I've sort of done that, and hopefully when people read it, they can understand kind of how I felt going through it. But what can you do to deal with mental health is just try one day at a time, and don't be ashamed of being dyspraxic. Be open about it. Embrace it. Embrace these things, and just stay true to yourself. That's the only thing I could say. Um, let's see. How old were you when you found out about dyspraxia? Um, I was 17. I'll tell you a little bit about before I go, like how uh, how I found out about it. I was 17 years old. It was the summer. I was dealing with other things in my life, like just not sure where my future was going to go. Um, I had friends that were very close to me who abandoned me because of my depression. My depression was really significant at that time, and I was very isolated. My sister was going through her things. My family was going through this and that, and I remember it being a very long summer. Like it just felt like it dragged out, and my sleep schedule wasn't that good. I was like, I mean, this is how bad my sleep schedule was. I would I would stay up until like the sunrise. I'd go take a walk for like 3 hours, and then like I wouldn't go to bed until like 9 in the morning, and then I would wake up at 4 in the afternoon, and that was kind of how I did my days during that summer. And this was around the time that the final Harry Potter movie came out, and of course, my family went to see the Harry Potter movies like every time they came out, and so it was like the end of an era. Last Harry Potter. It's like, oh, I'm excited to see it. I read the book, so I was like, I'm interested in seeing how the. I mean, I don't remember if it was before or after I saw the movie, but I it was late at night. I was watching TV and I was on my phone, and for just thinking about Harry Potter, the last movie and stuff, I just thought I'd read a little bit about the actors. So of course, I looked up just some facts about Daniel Radcliffe, and I came across an article that talked about his dyspraxia, and I had never heard of it. So I just like clicked on it, and it was like a boring night. It was just mundane, it was just another night. But I looked through the symptoms, and I was just like, oh my God, this is me. This is my life. This is everything that I've experienced. Like all the difficulties from when I was young, all the things that nobody could explain. Here it was. It's like I discovered I was a wizard or something. And I started tearing up But yeah, I was like, I just got so emotional because it was like I finally understood. Ah, shit, really?